Welcome. My name is Dr. Edwin Mwinga Choka, based at Ambalala House in Mombasa. And we are taking this time to discuss with you various aspects of life, including mental health, environment, and other aspects of our lives. You will be knowing that the world has changed quite a bit, and we are moving from the analog to the digital world. And in the process, we also moved from the tradition to the new now, the modern life. And that's where we have problems as humans, and especially Africans. Africans, we have a problem. And the major problem is that we have totally rejected our early roots, and we have been able to embrace the Muzungu, the European method or way of life, way of thinking, or way of living. Even our daily routines are geared towards imitating the British or the European. Now, these are aspects which have also impacted on us. And on the contrary, the Chinese, the Indians, and people in the Far East have maintained to a far extent their own roots, their tradition. And some of those traditions have really helped them to navigate this treacherous world. For example, a good example is our feeding, our eating styles. The Western feeding style or eating style is based more on highly processed foods, fast foods. Not only that sweet foods with high carbohydrates, which makes them sweet and addictive. Things like bread is highly addictive. It is sweet, but it has high bread carbohydrate content and low fiber content. Unlike our own maize or raw maize, or maize made in the traditional way, which is high fiber diet. Now, the difference is that this high fiber diet is the original diet of the African, and that kept him or her from getting sick often, because they would be having a very good bowel function. Now, when you have highly processed foods, you tend to have more constipation, and you tend to have to elevate your blood sugar levels. It's also easy for you to get the non-communicable diseases, or what you can call the lifestyle diseases, things like diabetes, hypertension, and so on. Whereas the rural folk may also fall sick, but by and large, they may be more resilient because they are taking a high fiber diet. The greens are very good. The maize is not sifted, it's just done raw. And they have a lot of greens in the garden, which they eat. Now, eating greens in towns is very difficult, and sometimes you get even contaminated greens because people have been told to take greens, but where do you get good quality greens which are not contaminated, which people have not used sewage water to grow? Now, in town, that is a big challenge, whereas in the rural areas, behind your garden, behind your house, you can have your garden. You can have your greens. You just go to the garden, pick the greens, come and cook. You don't even store them in the fridge because it's already there. So lifestyle diseases are likely to affect those in the villages and more those of us staying in towns. Moreover, in town, they tend to have more of sedentary life, of sitting taking highly polished food, processed food, and then not exercising, and then sitting most of the time. This ends up with complications of cholesterol, high blood pressure, and so on and so forth. So I started by saying the Chinese and the Indians, they have maintained their traditions. Today, most of the medicines we are having is coming from India and China, from traditional trees. But what has happened to our trees? We cut our trees here and we demonize traditional medicine. That is herbs. There are some herbs which are excellent and can be used as they are, not even processed. But since we have taken the culture, the European culture, of demonizing our own culture, then it's very difficult for us to survive. Whereas in China and so on, they have maintained their culture. They have taken the new culture properly, they have digitized, but at the same time, they have not forgotten their roots. It's important for you to know that you need to refocus on your life, refocus on your dieting, and know that the foods that taste nice, like bread, polished bread, rice, which is highly polished, and even maize meal that is polished, wheat and wheat products, all these, they conspire to fight against you, especially in the later lives. In your later years, you may have a lot of complications like osteoarthritis, pains, joints, and even early mental health problems like depression and even Alzheimer's or presenile dementia that may be associated with the lifestyle. Well, not all is lost. You can still go back to the village. We can still adopt the village life, even when you're in town. Instead of taking that toast in the morning, you can get your sweet potato or guache, arrowroot, and mostly try to boil your food. Boiled foods are very good, and they help by minimizing the level of cholesterol. Boil your meat, boil your potatoes, and have tea, either with the herbs or without herbs, but with the herbs it will be better. I'll be talking later about the herb that we have made ourselves called bemehu. Bemehu is a concoction of spices that, if used well, they have medicinal value and they have high nutritional value. And they can be used, but there you are. We are used not to having herbs. The Chinese, Indians, they take herbs on a regular basis. You don't have to be sick to take herbs. Herbs can be used in many ways, and sometimes they are very beneficial. We shall be talking about that very soon. So, think about your diet before you eat that, before you drink that, before you have your pound of roasted meat, before you take your beer, your alcohol, whatever drink you are taking, ask yourself, is it good for me or is it dangerous for me? It may not be dangerous today, but later on it may have some effects. What then would you have to do? Be as natural as possible. Walk as much possible. Be happy. Like the African tradition is to be happy. The traditional African is happy. He welcomes strangers and friends. The British ones, they are not happy because they are very restricted. You cannot visit them without an appointment. The African, you just decide you are going to visit somebody and you go. So we have to adopt that original tradition that we had of having an open heart, open, mind, so that you can interact more. If you do that, you see a difference. The extended family, which has now almost died, we were very proud of the extended family, the cousins. In fact, we have no cousins in Africans. We have brothers and sisters. You never hear that is my cousin. No, that is my brother. Unless you ask properly, then you'll be told, no, that is a child of my uncle. But as we talk over brother, sisters, father, mother, that means you can be disciplined by anybody and you respect everybody. Something that is very rare nowadays. Respect is difficult because of the changing world that we are in. So, those are thoughts here and there. You may want to think about it. All right? See how